All right, so this second part of the Pearce Barnett reading is the part or the section on coherence and mystery. So first I'll talk about coherence. Coherence can be described or defined as all those processes by which persons invent, test, and tell themselves and others stories that make the world around us intelligible. So the things that we understand and generate to describe actions, interactions, objects, subjects around us. Every aspect of our life has come about because of a story that was once told to us or created about it. Our food customs, our fashion, our religious symbols, if anything around us. However, if these stories are confused or become are incoherent, our customs are confused and we are unable to interact. If we pursue these confused stories, then we remain confused and our actions remain confused. If we accept these confused stories, coherencies continually, these confused stories then are unable to coordinate with others' stories. So that's one way in which coherence touches on coordination. That if our coherent or if our beliefs or our stories are incoherent, then coordination cannot be achieved. So that links us back to the last chapter that we were reading a little bit. So how does coherence come about? It is believed and accepted that coherence is found within the family first. That is where we first learn it, by mimicking what our parents say, remembering the details that they talk about, and the specific interactions that we witness. So we know how to gauge and interact with others in the future. Children remember even small details said by their parents, and they witness how they emotionally interact, and they log that in their brain and use it in the future later. Our friendships also institutionalize how we deal with coherence or institutionalize coherence. Among the groups that we find ourselves in, stories are told and accepted and generated. These similar ways that we interact and speak and address topics provide us a way in which to mentally tackle a concept or an idea that we might otherwise not know how to approach coherently. An example was brought up of how nations will often generate a coherence in relation to an idea or a goal. Like the Pledge of Allegiance, for example, is one in the United States. And also, they describe them as apocryphal stories, or potentially untrue stories, like our nation's stories of George Washington and the cherry tree and Honest Abe. These patriotic stories help us as a group of people achieve a coherence in our patriotism and our understanding of our country. I thought of an example in our own church. We might think of an apocryphal story as one such as the frog in the boiling water object lesson. It's been said that it's a potentially untrue example, but we widely consume it and agree upon it because it serves to help us understand an important lesson. And so we continually generate it and understand it throughout our community, telling the story over and over. Coherence is different from coordination because while coordination requires one person to collaborate with others and for all parties to agree on that communication, coherence needs only the single person to accept and imagine the story and in order to understand that within their specific realm of understanding. We can become willingly enmeshed in a story or involved in it and coherent of the literal story itself, as well as the knowledge that it could be an unreal story. But this enmeshment is something that allows us to willingly suspend our belief or disbelief for something. It allows us to be okay with true or untrue facts. It allows us to be involved in the world around us. Liberation from facticity or festicity. Coherence in storytelling allows us to be free from this festicity and state of pure fact. If we are, beings without coherence and stories and communication, we're in this strict existence or in a biological state, just being. Without language, with language we can be sad, happy, we can joke around, and even be offensive. As when we can transcend simple fact and baseline state of being, and be able to be coherent, that's when we can thrive as people and as communities. And next, I want to touch quickly on mystery. Our society often dampens the unknown and tells us to go away from it. But mystery itself is not damaged by this. It's our interpretation or our acceptance of that mystery. We are often given a prescribed skepticism. Mystery is essential to the human condition. It's a retreat from this retreat is pretty healthy and therapeutic when we can make ourselves disbelieve something or believe in something unbelievable. It helps us to, again, lift above that state of just existence and being. When things have a quality of ineffability, we and our communication and interactions are able to go beyond and achieve a sort of feeling beyond simple communication that's often messy. So being a human being is an animal that makes its own world and its own self, and this is done through the process of coordination, coherence, and mystery.